if you're planning to go for a visa interview, understand that there used to be three outcomes when it comes to attending a US visa interview. The first one was an approval, the second, a denial, or the third one, administrative processing. Now, if you're planning for an interview, you should prepare for only two outcomes. Um, an administrative processing and a denial. Now what happens is that because of the social media issues, if your visa is being approved, you will be placed on administrative processing, unlike earlier where you right away know that your visa has been approved. Your passport will be taken and then later on you go for your visa. Now you'll be placed on administrative processing with the aim of checking, and you'll be handed over the 221G document, which indicates that the visa officer is going to check your social media handle. Now let's bear in mind that even though it is being so sorry about that. We had a break. So if you're preparing for a visa interview, there used to be three outcomes: an approval, a denial, or administrative processing. Now there are only two outcomes: an administrative processing or a denial. So if your visa is being approved initially, you will be your passport will be taken, and then you'll be asked to pick up your passport later on, which will have the visa in it. Now you'll be placed on administrative processing, and this administrative processing does not guarantee. Okay, I seem to be having some challenges today. Okay, so if your interview is coming up, please understand that you could be placed on administrative processing, and you'll be given the 221G document, which will be indicated that go set your social media account into and make them public, and the embassy is going to check your social media details. However, please bear in mind that other things could be checked during this administrative processing. So your I-20 could be taken, your passport, or maybe your financial statement can be taken. So be clear that even though the social media is the reason why they are putting you on administrative processing, other things could be checked. That if you were being interviewed during that moment, the visa officer may not be able to see those things, but when placed on administrative processing, they have enough time. Unfortunately, you will not be told how many days, how many weeks you should wait for this administrative processing to be over. So bear in mind when you're going for your visa interview, and also you prepare ahead of time. So if you are thinking that when I go for my interview, I get my visa today, tomorrow I can travel. Please plan well so that you give enough room for the administrative processing before you leave. I wish you all the best. Please do away with the negative news surrounding this whole thing. If you're working on the process, stay positive on what you're working on, and everything will be fine. You're welcome. This is the biggest Study Abroad content platform. We do this and every week, and it's called the Study Abroad Podcast. I invite individuals who have been through the Study Abroad process so that they share their experience, their journey with you, and then you will learn from how they were able to do it. Which universities are they? Which scholarships are they enjoying? What programs are they studying? Which other universities did they apply to? How much did the entire process cost them? How long did it take? So that you can learn from their experiences. And today we have a big guest. My co-host has always been Ben. Ben, how you doing? You have to unmute your microphone. Your microphone is muted, Ben.
Okay, I'm doing good, and you?
I'm okay. How is the weather in the UK?
Yeah, UK weather is not reliable. We are in summer, but it keeps changing. So you can
Awesome.
see that right now I'm in a hoodie, so it's a little bit cold.
All right. A bit of introduction to our viewers who are seeing your handsome face for the first time, and then we get going.
Okay, thank you for the opportunity. So to our viewers who are listening to me for the first time, my name has always been Ben, and I'm part of the Freddy Fair team. Currently, I'm in the UK studying MSc Public Policy at Nottingham Trent University. So I think this just a small intro about me for today. Thank
Our
you.
guest is a big man. A lot of people know him by the name Kojode. Kojode, you're welcome.
Thank you very much, Fred.
Yeah,
What was Ben?
he's
Yeah,
he's a
I'm good.
He's a big man and he's the president of GRASAG. Our conversation today is going to delve into his study abroad journey, and we talk a lot about GRASAG and the upcoming GRASAG Congress at Ohio University. I share a lot of, I share a lot of common stuff with Kojude. We both went to University of Cape Coast. Ben was also in UCC. We went to Ohio University. We went to University of Kentucky. So, Kojo, a little bit of introduction to people seeing you for the first time.
You already mentioned my name, Kuju Day. I'm currently at the University of Kentucky, getting to my third year PhD program, majoring in communication, health communication. Started from University of Cape Coast. That's where my university um, education started, and then to Ohio University in 2021, and then 2023, I went to University of Kentucky, and I've been there since.
Awesome. I feel you should have been the one in my position because the first time I heard of you was when I was listening to you on radio, ATL FM, and I was an ATL hauler, right? And so I was looking for you because I loved your voice, right? So I would come and stand in front of ATL hall so that when you are coming to pass, I'll see you. But I never saw you.
Yeah,
Right.
I used to hear that a lot, and people heard my voice on radio, and when they saw me in person, they were like very surprised because, like, oh, we can't connect the voice to the person because we think
Yeah.
very thick, tall guy, and then here am I, very skinny, lanky, small boy walking somewhere. They are like, oh, so he was the one. So I think, yeah, I used to hear quite a lot, and I tell people that probably I use my voice to make up for my body height and size.
All right. So, if you are just tuning in, you're welcome. We are speaking to the GRASAC USA president, Honorable Kojo Day, and he's going to talk to us about his study abroad process and also the upcoming GRASAC Congress and all that. I want us to start with GRASAC USA. A lot of people know about GRASAC as an institution, educational in Ghana. Let's talk about GRASAC USA. If somebody's hearing about GRASAC USA for the first time, what is GRASAC USA?
So Grassroots USA is nothing different from what we already know in Ghana. If you are in
Mhm.
Ghana, come from Ghana, and you already know about GRASAC, I would say its US version. So what GRASAC in Ghana seeks to do, bringing students together, trying to connect us as intellectual. In terms of research ideas, and the only difference that may come up here is because here you've all transitioned to a different country, a different
Mhm.
environment, and you that sense of community and networking as a group of people who identify with a common value and goal. So in the US, it also serves as like a home kind of, or a family where we feel connected. People can rely on others for information sharing and also networking. So basically, among the many things, I've always said that this is a great networking platform which tries to give people, international students, Ghanaian students in the United States, that sense of community building, where we know that in times of need, in times of trouble, we still have a community that we can connect with and flourish.
Yeah, every week we have the a draw at the end of the session where we'll be selecting one person to mentor to go through the process. You have to keep your questions coming in. If you click on the like button, if you subscribe, if you share, you automatically join the draw. So, Kojo, do you necessarily have to be in the US as a student to be part of GASA USA?
Well, so just as the name is, of course, you have to be here. If you're in Ghana, has the GRASAC. The GRASAC National is there. So to
Right.
be GRASAC USA, yes, you should be a student here in the United
Mm.
States. And let me just say this. I've often heard quite a lot of people who say the name kind of take undergrads out. And
Right.
I'm like, because if you get the GRASAC Constitution, the GRASAC USA Constitution, I think the
Yeah.
framers of that constitutions and those who founded it were very mindful of the fact that, there are more graduate students coming here than undergraduates. And that
Mm.
does not mean that we are neglecting the undergrad. So we have what we call the junior members. Undergraduates are supposed, or they occupy the role of junior members in this
Mm-hmm.
entire association. So I try to say, you don't feel that you are not part because you are not a graduate student. If you are an undergrad, if you are in a short certificate program or whatever thing it is, once you are here and you are in school, you are considered as part, and you can actively engage, because whatever information we do pass on, or whatever activity we try to put together, is for the benefit of every Ghanaian who is in the United States studying.
Right. So every Ghanaian should be part of the GRASA Congress. Now, another question somebody will ask will be, how do I join GRASA Congress? I am now working on my study abroad process, or I have gotten my visa approved. I'm preparing to move, to join you guys very soon. How do I join?
Yeah, so currently, even on our WhatsApp pages, there are some people who haven't transitioned to the US yet, but they are part
Mm.
of it. We also have another platform that we created. We created for like a kind of an orientation, a pre-orientation for students who are now coming, which houses some of those individuals. So what I would say is, probably, I don't know if after the interview we can share our WhatsApp link or whatever. I don't know how, but then people can connect, because we do get people who sometimes join our programs even from Ghana. There are a lot of programs that we hold. We share the link online, and we get a lot of people who join and to get information. So yes, that platform is there. Once you're in the US, the first part of it is to be part of our WhatsApp groups, because that's where most of our information actually go. We also have a database where we take registration. So there's a Google form which is shared, and then you just fill out your details so that we can track you when the need be. So basically, being part, that is the process for now.
All right. If you're just tuning in, I'm speaking with the GRASAC USA president, Honorable Kojo Day. He graduated from University of Cape Coast in Ghana, schooled at Ohio University. We shared a lot of things in common, and currently a PhD student at University of Kentucky in Lexington, Kentucky. He's talking to us about GRASAC USA. So apart from getting that sort of connection to maybe home or maybe a community, why would somebody want to join GRASAC? Why should someone join GRASAC USA?
Yeah, it's very, very important. The community is very, very key. I mean, you wouldn't understand it until you've traveled outside Ghana and you come here. That is when
Mm.
you see that the networking, it's even very, very paramount, because imagine yourself in an environment where you don't know anybody and you can't connect with anybody. That
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of things, that the cultural shock and all that, and then you realize you are just alone and all by yourself. You realize
Mm.
that the community building is very, very important. Apart from that, the notion is that if you're part of GRASAC, of course, you are here in an institution of higher learning. So,
Mm.
in terms of network, academic collaborations, in terms of um, research ideas, because mind you, part of our core values as GRASAC is also to build and enhance on our research capacities that can inure to the benefit of our country and the continent. So there are different projects that we are doing. I may not know what you are doing as right. You probably may be in one school doing a certain kind of wonderful project. The only way I can get to know what you're doing, so that even if you have to do any collaboration, is through these platforms.
Yeah.
We also engage our members. For example, we have capacity building in terms of research, in terms of immigration issues. We've held programs where we talk about the NIW pathways,
Mhm.
utilization of AI in research. So we try to connect with people who have gone through the system as us, who are now doing exceedingly well in their fields, to bring them on board to also coach us. Who knows? We all have our different pathways after school. You're definitely going to get somebody whose goals aligns with yours through this,
Yeah.
where you can connect and follow up from there. So this is a very huge opportunity, a great platform where we can stay connected, like I've said, through our research collaborations, through networking, community building, and all that. And you wouldn't want to miss an opportunity like this, because like I said, if you're watching us from Ghana, you may not necessarily understand it better until you are out from there, and then I really need somebody to talk
Yeah.
to.
Personally, one of the things that has been so important to me when by being part of GRASAG is, the people who are not married, you could find your spouse in there because we are all students, you
I
understand?
was
So
people can get get money.
yeah, so the single people, shout outs to you. You when you come, these are intelligent ladies you're going to meet, you understand? They've gone through the mill to somebody is doing a PhD, and that's your girlfriend. Awesome, you understand? So yeah, very important.
Our members are with character and integrity too, so don't get worried and say, "Oh, he's just doing P." All of them are all rounded. They've been through the system. They've gone through the mill, so they know what we're talking about. And thank you for that. That's why Congress probably may want to talk. I mean, we may come in there. People have to come. You can find a spouse there. Yeah.
Right. We have a program coming up called the GRASAG Congress. It is being held every year. Last year it was in the University of Maryland. I couldn't go, but this year I'm repping live at Ohio University. That's my alma mater. It feels like home to me. And so we are all going to be there. We'll be talking about that. Now, let's rewind. Let's start with what actually ignited. I knew you as a radio presenter at ATL-FM. ATL-FM, if you don't know, is a radio station, a campus radio station in Cape Coast, which is the University of Cape Coast. And, very like your voice. Where do you get that from? Where do you get a voice from?
Well, I don't. But let me tell you something. I hate listening to myself.
Okay.
I hate listening to myself. So when people talk about my voice, well, I'm like, okay, but I hate it. When I got into radio, one of the things how to train yourself is also to listen to yourself, because when you listen to yourself, that's when you are able to know your pace and all that. And I dreaded that. I just didn't like it. I couldn't listen to myself into more than 2 minutes. It was terrible. So when
so were you a student presenter or you were employed?
I started as a student presenter, did my national service, worked as part-time, and then became a full-time staff at ATL. So I joined ATL-FM when I was in level 3 to go to 400, 2014, I think so. Yeah, so that's when I joined. I'd always wanted to do radio when I was young. I always watched the news. And when I watched the news, usually it wasn't just because of the information I was getting. It was the news anchors that I was looking at, and I was admiring them. So I'd always wanted to. I used to mimic them. I used to write my own stories and just read it. It's something that I'm so passionate about. So when I got to UCC and I realized they have the radio station, I was like, yeah, this is an opportunity, and it started from there.
Right, Ben. Let me know whenever you want to come in. But what ignited your interest to want to study abroad, Kojo?
That's a very interesting question. So what let me tell you this. It's very funny. It's been long. When I was young, anytime I read the Daily Graphic, I would go to the obituary. This is very funny, interesting. And when I read obituary, those people that I was always fascinated, the dead, were those with titles like professors, like doctors. And I would just read and just look at their profile. And anytime I get the chance to read people's people like that, their biographies in the funeral brochures, and I hear they had their first degree at the University of Ghana, they went to the University of Bladada in this place, those guys, I just admire. I was like, this is how I want my brochures to look when I die someday. Like, I want to study outside Ghana. Like, I want that blend of that. It was really funny, right? But I realized I just liked it. So I'd always wanted to, even when I was in UC, I was like, I need to get a blend of, so that when they are reading my profile one day to BA University of Cape Coast, MPhil somewhere in the world, PhD somewhere also in the world, I felt, oh, that would make me look more.
Because you're interesting. I've asked a lot of people this question. This is the funniest one I've heard so far.
Yes, it's very, when I talk to people about it, but that's the truth. And those who know me know that I've always, and I used to write them down. When I was in secondary school, when I buy like my books, I'll write my name, Professor Kojo there. I didn't even know who Professor does, but I knew they went to university. And then I'll write BA. That time I'll write University of Ghana, because I know when I was in secondary school, I didn't know much about what I was going to do in the university, but University of Ghana was always, and I'll just write that. Then I'll write master somewhere, some university somewhere. So it's something I had always, people look and say, are you correct? So when I completed, because you're not there, you're right. So when I completed my first degree at University of Cape Coast, I knew now I've finished with the first degree. So that dream of studying abroad has to come. So I completed in 2015, did my national service, ended 2016. That was when I started to apply, and I wanted to come to Ohio University. I started application. I had no knowledge on it. At that time, Fred Effect wasn't in existence. Probably if you were, I would have had more. I didn't know anything. All I knew was I was going to apply to Ohio University. So I started the application and got to a point where they said I should put my passport information. I didn't have a passport at the time. And I didn't know it was a big deal to get a passport before I applied to the schools. Because I thought that after you've been admitted and then you have to travel, that's when the passport comes in. I didn't know they were going to. So in 2016, halfway through the procedure, I got locked. I didn't have a passport. And at the time, you weren't going to apply for a passport and get it the next day. So it was very disappointing. I just shut that dream down and said, okay, I need to now get a passport. And I knew it was going to take some time to get the passport. But in the meantime, I don't want to just sit down and relax doing nothing. So my program, African Studies, that's what I did for my first degree. The department had introduced a new master's program. Masters in International Studies and African Studies. I said, okay, why don't I, whilst I'm waiting to work on my passport to still study abroad, why don't I just jump onto this master's program so that I don't waste time? So I just enrolled into the Masters in International Studies program at University of Cape Coast in 2017. I was among the first batch to start that.
So what was your bachelor's in?
My bachelor's was in African Studies.
Okay. And then you did a master's in African Studies?
No, in International Studies.
Oh, okay. And then I know you came to Ohio University to pursue another master's.
Yeah, so that's where let's get this. So how that happened that was actually not the plan. My plan was not to come do another master's. My plan was to get onto the PhD program, because after I did the master's in Ghana, I was like, okay, I already have the master's, now let me get to the PhD. Now, during the application process, now I have my passport, so I can start. I did apply for a PhD program at the Ohio University. I applied for another one in Michigan University. And then I said to myself, in order not to, I had to widen my, I don't know how to put it, my scope, so that I don't just be narrow about it. Let me just apply the master's too, so that, I mean, if this doesn't work, something will work. Like, I was really bent on making this work. So I said, even though I have a master's, I don't care. Let me just still apply for another master's. And the ComDev program at OU was something that I also did like, because after reading about it, mind you, I've been a journalist. I've never done any program in communication. Like, I had no communication background in what I studied. So
if you're confused on what ComDev is, communication and development. That's how the professors say it. They say ComDev. We that are not professors, we say communication and development.
So the communication development studies program at Ohio University was very good. So I was like, let me just use the another master's as a second. And lo and behold, it was a master that got me in, because all the PhD programs I applied at the time, I didn't get admitted. It was a master's program that got me in.
So this is an advice to a lot of people listening. People are of the view that if I'm coming for a second master's, it's a red flag during the interview. Also, if you are applying for a PhD, you have a master's already. There's no harm trying a second master's as well. Like Kojo is saying, that could be the one that could get you in. And now he's successfully pursuing his PhD, which he had wanted to do. So it's possible.
Yeah, and I don't regret doing a double master's. I always say I'm proud that I have a double master's. I mean,
yeah. So The same applies to me. I'm proud. I did 2
Yeah.
masters there.
So I tell people, and I had friends who didn't want to. They were like, "Oh, Kojo, a double master's is not a PhD." People thought it was even
Mm,
a waste of time, but it took them a long time before they could get into their PhD. From my own
yeah.
personal experience, and this is my own personal experience, and I want people to take it as my personal experience and what
Mm,
I've heard other people talk about. Getting directly into the PhD program from Ghana or Africa, for me, I think it is possible, but I feel because the whole PhD program is very competitive, highly competitive,
yeah.
and so for at the University of Kentucky, like this, during my time, my cohorts, we are, I think, 9 of them, 9 or 8. Now, mind you, these 9 or 8, if the university wants to diversify its cohorts, they do not necessarily have to come and pick you from Ghana or Nigeria or wherever. They can still
Mhm.
get to diversify it, like myself, who's already in the US. You get it. So, in terms of the diversification, there are already Ghanaians here who have done master's program who are equally also able to get into the system. So that's how I thought it, and I was like, okay. I'm not saying it's not possible, it's not doable coming to a PhD, because I know people who also came in directly from in a strong. But what I'm trying to say is, I don't try to belittle other opportunities, because in my case, it was a master's that got me in, which I'm also very excited and proud that I did. Yeah, not because it was the communication development studies program which will later even change my research trajectory, because
Exactly.
now communication, that was not why I came to the US. That was not the background I brought. My goal was to get here, get into international diplomacy, do foreign service work or whatever. During the communication studies development studies program, my trajectory changed, which I love and I'm very passionate about.
If you're just tuning in, you're welcome. This is the biggest study abroad content platform. I'm speaking with Professor Kojo Day. We are talking about his journey. He's the current president of GRASAG USA. We are talking about his journey studying abroad, the schools he has attended, and he's going to mention the schools he applied to so that we also share that with you. Later on, we'll be talking about the GRASAG Congress. My co-host is Ben. Ben, I don't know if you have some questions for Kojo, but if you have some questions, you put them in the chat. We'll be reading them and then we'll have responses to them. The boss himself is here, the president of all of us, is here. So we'll be responding to your questions. Let us have them in the comment section. And let us know the country you're watching us from. What is the time at your end? It's currently 2:08 p.m. where I am. Ben, what's the time at your end?
Yeah, it's now 7, 8 p.m.
I think I'm on the same time zone with Kojo, right?
Yeah,
Kojo,
yes, we understand. Yeah, we're on the
yeah,
same.
yeah, in Ohio. All right. So let us know in the comment section, where have you gotten to in your study abroad process? Do you need help? What sort of assistance do you need? When you type them in the comment section, you automatically join the draw. We'll be having it at the end of the session, and we'll pick one person who we will mentor. So we are live on Facebook, the Fred Effects platform, on YouTube, also on X and on Instagram and TikTok. So we are live across 5 different platforms. Like I said, this is the biggest study abroad content platform, and we do this and every weekend. So tell a brother that if you want to study abroad, every weekend we bring people who have done what you want to do. They share with you their processes, their journey, their experience, what they did wrong, what the advice they can give you based on what they have done. It makes the life super easier for you if you want to do this. All right, Ben, I don't know if you have questions for Kojo.
Yes, plenty question. Could you, Prof, today I will make sure that by the time you leave here, you are empty. So prepare for my questions.
Yeah, I came prepared.
All right. So from the beginning of your from your intro, I realized that before you even moved to US, you were already a big man. So what still triggered you to move out of Ghana? Because you are already into the journalism, like things are okay. So why would you still move?
Things are okay is relative, but you see, like I told you before, it is having a focus and a vision. We all do have focus, and everybody who knows me know that I'm very passionate about things that I want. So why I moved was, like I told you, even as a child, I've always wanted to study abroad. I didn't know what it meant to do. I didn't know what it took, but I just loved it. I've always wanted to get into academia too, and I knew that I had to go to this level of schools. And I'd always wanted to have a blend of not just in Ghana. I have to study somewhere else. It wasn't even necessarily about the United States. So I had always wanted to do that. So once I got my first degree, now the time has come for me to explore other areas where I can pursue this goal, get my master's, get my PhD, and become the person that I want to be. So for mine, it's not something that just came only after I completed school, or it's not something that someone introduced and said, "Oh, Kujo, you know there is study abroad." It's something I had been following up myself. Just that I didn't know how I was going to do it, but I knew I would want to study outside Ghana, so that when they are reading my profile too, I'll have some internationalization there. It sounded funny to me, but I just wanted to. So talking about being a journalist, yes, I was working as a journalist at the University of Cape Coast, but still, journalism is something that I felt I had done it at that level for some time, and I needed to move on to different adventures and into actually what I really wanted to do, like a career path of getting into academia. And if you want to get into academia, you need to get a master's, you need to get a PhD. So I was just following those steps to get to what I want to and who I want to be.
Oh, okay. That's great. So now, looking at the process, what do you wish you had known when you started the whole journey?
A lot of things. I earlier mentioned that I didn't even know I needed a passport to apply. And at the time, I didn't see a lot of what the Fred Effects and other platforms are doing now, giving all those information. I had to do everything by myself, go online, Google. Everything I had to Google and read, how to do this, how to do that. And it was strenuous. And sometimes you wouldn't get the right information. You know, it is much easier when you are being exposed to these things by people who have already experienced it. That part I didn't. So actually, my first visa attempt was even denied, and
Okay.
for me, yeah, it was. I was denied for the first attempt, and I realized that the denial was as a result of certain things I didn't do right. I probably had underestimated it or didn't give much attention to because of lack of knowledge. So I think if I had those information earlier, my transition would have been a little bit smooth. I had to do everything on my own. Every day you are on Google, you are trying to. The Google is my friend, right? So all these things kind of impacted the progress in some way. So right now, I think there are a lot of information, and so when I came to the US, I also mentor people, talk to them. Probably not to this platform that Fred Effect does, but I know people who reach out to me. I mean, they know you're in the US. You come to LinkedIn, people reach out to me a lot, and I also share my experiences with them and guide them through. And thankfully, we've been able to also guide quite a number who followed what we told them, and by their own dint of hard work and experience and focus with what they were doing, they've been able to also come here.
Okay, thank you so much. So now I realized that you mentioned something about AI from your initial introduction. So now looking at the situation at the moment, for those of us who want to start the process for the first time, how can we integrate AI in our application to become highly successful?
I mean, a lot of way. I am a pro AI person. I know AI has come to. I mean, there are a whole lot of things, conversations about it, people unethical use and all that. But I always tell people that I don't believe in it. I believe that it has come to stay. There is always a good way to use it for your own benefit. For example, generating ideas, writing statement of purpose. When I say writing statement of purpose and the use of AI, the unethical use of AI is where people, and I see that because currently I do teach college students and I see that a lot. And that is where it becomes upsetting, where people will just use AI, write this for me, and they just write and they cut and paste. That is dangerous. But you can use the AI to generate ideas. For example, I'm applying to a school for, let's use my program, health communication. What are some of the key things I can integrate into a statement of purpose to make it top notch? Owing to these are the research areas that I am interested in. AI, ChatGPT, for instance, can give you some ideas, which will guide you to write your own self, but incorporate this to make it very competitive. Because mind you, if you go and use AI to cut and paste, most of the schools will detect it. And I have experiences of that. I mean, people sharing experiences. I've even seen them some where a school wrote back to the students after they found out the person used AI to overturn an admission decision they had given them, because this person did a dito work. Yeah. To overturn a decision.
It's interesting.
Yeah. So you can always use AI to generate ideas, to have, I mean, tease yourself out and get, I mean, to support your or put your thoughts even together, organize them. Because sometimes we have all these. During my time when I was writing, there wasn't anything like ChatGPT. It took me about 3 months or 4 months to put up an SOP. And when I say it, people are like, yes, it took me about 4 months, 3 to 4 months to write my SOP, because I write it, and even with that, I didn't know what SOP was. I didn't know what personal statement was. I went to Google sample statement of purpose for communication. At the time, Google will show you a lot of how it looks like. I read it and okay. So when you're talking about SOP, this is how I have to write. This is what they are looking out for. These are the things. And then I use that to incorporate, to write mine to fit my story. But even with that, like I said, I write it, I put it down. Next 2-3 days, I take it again, I reread, I re-edit. It took me that long for me to put up my statement of purpose when I was applying for my master's at Ohio University. And even when I was leaving Ohio University to Kentucky too, even though I was here already and I was used to the system, it still took me about 2-3 months to complete my SOP for my PhD. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Answer, yeah.
Yeah, that's lovely. So it means that AI has now made the process relatively easier, but we still have to make sure that we use it ethically.
Use of it is what I am all about. It is an ethical use, is what I always talk to people. But you can use it for your benefit. Yes.
Oh, okay. So if you just tune in, here is Fred Effect. Today we have with us Prof. Kojo Adey, that he's trying to share his experience with us. At the moment, he's Fred, is it the whole USA or one state?
It's Kojo Day. Don't butcher the new voice.
No, forgive you. Prof, the Grassac, is it the whole USA?
Yes.
Yeah.
Of USA, yes.
Yeah. He's a big man.
50 states.
Yeah. Yeah.
So in essence, he's the Trump of all graduate students from Ghana.
Wow.
Well,
yes. Yeah. So
I think that Fred, after today, Prof should be able to at least sponsor 10 of our viewers for free.
He has a lot of burden when it comes to the Grassac already. There are a lot of things he's putting in place for the Grassac Association. So,
and let me add, I met one gentleman in Atlanta some time ago and was like, oh, and you was capaz musica. Grassac work is purely voluntary.
Yeah.
Yes, it's purely community. Part of the key word is the voluntary work. It's sacrifice. It's just trying to also help. It is not a paid office. You must be inspired to do it. You must be moved by the need to help other people to do it. So don't hurt people's interest to make them see I'm taking thousands of dollars.
All right. So we will talk about the upcoming Congress, but I wanted to find out from you. We'll talk about the universities you attended. Apart from the Grassac Congress that is done weekly, what other meetings go on when it comes to Grassac USA?
So the Congress is annually. It was actually, you said weekly, I think, correct.
Okay.
Every year. Oh yeah, it started last year under President Park Sam. He took the lead and said, no, we make sure we bring people together all over.
Shout out to him, by the way.
Yes, because he did amazing well, because it has to take a lot of great perseverance and to say, I need to get this. I mean, you all know how bringing people together, and everybody's busy, everybody has an excuse, and so taking that in bold initiative and say, oh, we want to get everybody. So it started last year, was the first time we had that, and so it's become an honor. When I took over as president, I was like, it can't collapse under my watch, and especially since it's just started, people would want it to move on. So apart from that, we have other programs throughout the semester. So, for example, the fall semester, there are events that we organize. I wouldn't say it is either every week or bi-weekly, but we just spread them across the semester so that it is also not so, we don't overload students with so much of things that they can't even participate, but we also intersperse it so that the connection too doesn't die out. So, like I said, one of the first things that we do for the fall semester is orientation, because we know at that time there are new students getting into the system. So we do a kind of orientation for newly admitted students who have come to the US or who are yet to transition, just to expose them to what they are coming into. We try to get people who are already in the system, professors. So last year during my term, I engaged professors, professionals who are already in the system, and other PhD students to also share their experiences and guide people through. So there were a host of topics we talk about managing your mental health, academic progression. How do you maintain your academics? On immigration, you know, the F1 rules, do's and don'ts. We had all those package, and then we also had the pathway to the NIW immigration, which a lot of people are very interested in, because of course, if you are here, those options, you need to know what are your options. We did that, and then we also did another one on the study abroad program, just as you're doing, but this one we engaged professors. We also engaged for OU Diane Cahill, who is the director for the International Student Union here, and her colleague Ami. They were all excellent to talk to people who want to apply the process. What are professors looking out for? So we did that, and then we did another one on managing of finances, you know, as an international student. So there are a host of programs that borders on how to survive as an international student, the things that you need to know. All these things are usually spread throughout the semester. So if you're on our WhatsApp pages or you follow our socials, you definitely get these so that you join, because they are always publicized on these platforms. Yeah. I think so. This is our website. The website is undergoing reconstruction. Recently it was hacked. We just got it back, so we are trying to. So yeah, this information there right now are the old information for the first Congress. So we are yet to now redesign it and get the information that this year's information all over there. But that's our website, which is under construction, I should say. Yeah. I think you are muted, Fred. I can't hear you.
So that is the website of GRASAG USA.
Yeah.
The domain name is GRASAGUSA .us. So GRASAGUSA.us. That's the website of GRASAG, and the president says it's undergoing construction. And remember, GRASAG is on all social media platforms. So, for example, this is the Facebook page of GRASAG USA. Please go follow, and of course, we are on LinkedIn, on Twitter, on Instagram. GRASAG USA have accounts all over social media. If you are new, you want to study abroad, these are the platforms you should be following. Don't be alone. You know, a lot of people think that once they get in, they are done, and so they single out themselves wherever. Maybe they are in New Mexico, they don't want to talk to anybody. Please be part of a community, because I remember, you know, may their souls rest in peace, an issue happened in Clemson University where where some PhD students, GRASAG was very supportive. You know, there's a WhatsApp platform, people have issues, and I loved it when, you know, the whole student visa revocation was going on, while you posted on social media. You know, it calms your nerves down. Normally, if you know people that you are in the same soup with, you share similar, you know, qualities with. I am in higher ed, right? And sometimes we have discussions in class, even though we sort of associate with some individuals here, we are not the same. It's just difficult. So if you get an association of individuals who are just like you, share the same values, know where we are all from, what the goals we are sharing together. Sometimes we might be doing the same programs together, work opportunities. People know the road. We understand. Don't think you know everything. Some people, they get here and that's it. Be part of such a community, and it's going to be beneficial. Always people think about, what do I stand to benefit? How about, what do you stand to give to other people too? For if you have an opportunity to do an internship somewhere, how about you recommending it to somebody who is also part of GRASAG USA? And so, be part of such a community is going to help you, not only when you're coming from home, but also when you get here. And GRASAG USA is doing an amazing job. Kojo, let's go into the universities you applied to. You already mentioned Ohio University, and I'm going to share the website. I mean, whenever I see the website of Ohio, like something enters me, I don't know, for some reason, it feels home.
Yeah. So my
yeah. So talk to us about the program you applied for. Are they still admitting, or since Kojo there got in, they've closed admissions, they are not admitting anywhere?
They are fully in the admission swing. They are admitting. I applied to the Communication and Development Studies program.
Yeah.
Under the leadership right now, the director, Dr. Somia Pants. She's even in Ghana now.
Wow.
The entire CIA Center for International Studies is in Ghana. They took some Ohio teachers to Ghana on an exchange program. They'll be back in July 15th. They were at the University of Cape Coast. I think they went to Tech 2. So those in Ghana watching us, I mean, you can be following their website. You can catch them somewhere. They may be in your area. You can just catch them. Because for me, I attended one of their events. That is when my love for OU. In 2018, they came to Ghana, and my professor, one of my professors, who was the director for the African Studies program at University of Cape Coast, Dr. Alex Wilson, and also Dr. Michael Boachi-Adam, who is now the founding director for UNESCO IEP. They told me, I used to work with them for radio and stuff. They said, like, OU, both of these people were OU alums. So they're like, yeah. They are coming for an kind of exchange program in Accra at the National Theatre. It would be great to be part, because before, Dr. Alex Wilson had told me, Kojo, you can do the communication. He was here, he did African studies, and he knew about the ComDev and health com. He kept talking about it. I was like, what is ComDev? But that's where the conversation started, and I started following up reading. So when they came, I went to National Theatre. I followed them. I went to National Theatre. I met the director of global affairs at the time, Dr. Edmonds, Lorna Edmonds. I remember her very well. I interacted with some of them. I covered the events as a journalist to run a story on it, published it on our website, because that was a way to, also trying to build a network and connection. That's how it started. Yeah. I sent the story to Dr. Edmonds, and she was very, very excited. That's when I told her, look, I'll be joining OU very soon. I mean, I just said it in an email. She was at the time exiting the scene. But all that I'm trying to say, I then start kind of established some kind of link with Ohio University through that. And then that's when the urge to go to OU started. So then I applied to Michigan State too.
Okay, so we'll talk about Michigan State, but the current university you are is University of Kentucky, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So from Ohio University to University of Kentucky, and like I said, I share a lot of similarities with Kojo there. I was schooled here as well. So I want us to talk about. I mean, you mentioned a lot of things about Ohio University. I don't know if it's me, but I see every element that as an international student, you need to survive at Ohio University. The application fee to apply is not expensive. Most of the programs will come with automatic funding, either the GRS or GA. There is a huge African community, especially. There's no day that I walk on Ohio University campus without speaking Chi. It looks like I was in Ghana.
The funny thing I tell people too, when I came to OU for the first few months, I had forgotten that I was in the US. But it never felt like the US for me. My roommate, 4 of us were all Ghanaians from all University of Cape Coast. My next door neighbor, all Ghanaians, half from University of Cape Coast, courtyard apartments where I lived. You sometimes if you see somebody working with a child at the back. do it in Ghana. You know, like, go for my videos, all guys like, am I in the US? That's
Yeah.
how strong the community is here.
Yeah. Shout outs to Richmond, shout outs to Yuma, shout outs
Yeah,
to I've forgotten
yeah, I came in
the
this.
other room.
Yeah,
Yeah. You know,
yeah.
shout outs to all of them. Ohio is home. I like, I don't know, for some reason I have some personal attachment to this university. You can easily survive the beautiful campus. You can walk to campus. It's a campus like the city. This the school makes the city. It makes it easier to
So
survive in there
yeah,
and all
the
that.
college.
Yeah. All right. So let's talk about University of Kentucky, the next university you went to.
Yeah. And I'm going to say this to you. You are one of those who inspired me to go to the University of Kentucky.
Oh, I
Yeah,
appreciate that. Thank you.
yeah. You are the one because I didn't know about University of Kentucky. It wasn't on my radar for PhD.
Yeah.
Nothing. Somebody told, oh, Fred had been to gone to University of Kentucky. I spoke to you once. Probably you might have forgotten.
Yeah.
And you also did speak highly of it, even though you were in a different program. I think you did public administration or something like that. But I think you spoke about the scholarship opportunities and all that.
Yeah.
So like that is when I decided to also take keen interest. Okay, and that's how I am. When I hear people talk about something, I try to do my own research and dig deep into it. So when I was even about to apply for the PhD programs, University of Kentucky at the time, initial time, was not part of it.
Mm,
I was looking at schools in Washington, Seattle. I was even trying to go to Canada, um, Ohio State. But you see, I was also very strategic. Even when I was coming to OU,
mm,
the strategy was, I said to myself, Kojo, I'm not going to write GRE. I'm not going to write any exams. I'm not going to write any whatever. I'm not going to do any certification. So when I'm choosing the schools, I'm choosing schools which will waive these or these are not requirements. Because I applied to some schools and then when I got to GRE, I said, oh no, I'm not coming. Mine was not like, oh, because I wanted to go to this particular school, I'm going to do everything to get there. Because at the point, some of them didn't make sense to me. I was applied to George Mason. I started the application. I got to the middle. They said WES certification. I said, hell no, I'm not going to do any WES certification. And the reason why I wasn't even going to do it, like I was like, I have come to the US. I have a US master's, and you still want me to do WES certification? The amount of money, why must I? So I just stopped in the middle. They wrote to me several times. I did not continue because I said I'm not going to do WES. But Kentucky was very smooth to. GRE was waived for the PhD program, which I was going to do. I didn't have to do any of these kind of things, just as for Ohio University. So for me, that was my strategy. I said I'm going to bypass all this. So any school that will waive all these kind of things for me, I'll get into. So that was how I finally settled on Kentucky. And what made me I love the school more even was that the program that I was applying to, the communication program, health communication, they ranked third in the country. So I was like, this is solid. They have
wow.
great business in that area. So like, okay, this is the mark I'm going to. And because I've spoken to you too, and I'll also talk to me about the cost of living, which I was also very mindful, which some people don't care about. All they know is I'm applying to a school.
Mm,
Like that, all these things must be considered. I was like, okay, cost of living. Because like I told you, when I was applying to George Mason, DC area is not for the joke. It's not a joke. But I have to, it's not a joke. You may see the funding very big. Oh, I'm taking 40,000, but what you fail to realize is that these things are calculated based on the cost of living in the area. So
yeah.
the apartment that I'm going to pay, let's say $500 or $600, the same thing in those areas you may pay 1,200 and stuff like that. So
Yes.
that's what I'm saying. You played a role in that when and if you remember, I even took a trip there one time where you took me to
Yeah.
where you were living. That's how come I
Yeah.
even went to. I even had to stay in the special. Yeah,
Yeah.
you were very instrumental, and it helps a lot. It comes
Yeah.
back to what we are talking about because I heard you were there and you helped me. For me, I'll say the transitioning there was very smooth. Otherwise, I would have going to mess up around. So yeah, that was how I finally settled on University of Kentucky, and then I applied, and thankfully, I made they called it and said, well, your application was one of the top notch that we had. I said, okay, that's fantastic, and here I am, yeah, and I've
Yeah.
enjoyed the experience. Yeah.
Yeah, and Lexington is very beautiful. Compared to other things, it's a little
Oh yeah.
bit bigger. You know.
Oh, I mean,
Yeah.
University of Kentucky actually is a much bigger school. Lexington is a much bigger city. I also liked I one of the things I also did love was I wanted the mixture of both. So I applied to OU too, and when University of Kentucky came, I spoke to my director and some of my professors, and they were like, "Well, it's good to have a different experience to build networks in a different area too. So like now you already have your Athens, Ohio connection and networks. You are building a different one in Lexington. It's part of broadening your scope and your tentacles in terms of those networks. And also the feeling alone. It's also I've been to a community college, a college town. I know Athens is a college town. Let me go to also a big city and see how the experience are just to make sure I'm kind of all rounded. So yeah, that's how come I got to University of Kentucky.
Yeah, and obviously from Athens to Lexington, a couple of hours drive and all that.
Yeah.
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 All right. So let's quickly run through the rest of the other schools you applied to, for our brothers and sisters back home who might probably not hear the names of some of these universities before, so that they can write them down, research, and also check out if they could apply to them.
So, Fred, before that, I just want to drop in a quick question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so Prof, I just want to know, so from two masters to PhDs, what do you think, or what extra thing did you do that make your application to stand out?
I mean, for Kentucky, or I mean, throughout the whole process with the
whole process, because I want my viewers to know some of the tricks so that they can also try to integrate such ideas in the application process.
Very good. So the first thing I think is first of all having the focus. What do you want to do? What is it that you want to do? Oftentimes I've told people come to me, they want to study, and you talk to them and it's like they are lost. They don't know what to do. It's like, I'm like, you want to apply to the school. What do you, so the statement of purpose or the personal statement I tell people is like going for an interview. The US schools, not everybody goes to an interview. Sometimes after the application decision, they may say you can have an interview. But situations where you're not going for the interview, you are writing everything on the statement of purpose. It must be very clear so that the committee that are reading, remember, they have a huge pile of people, about 200 people who are applying to the same program. And they have to review all these things. So if your CV resume is not direct, I tell people, American universities, most of them, you need to know how to write your resume using the APA style, not just writing any resume. There's a resume for academic, there are resumes for job. Know the difference. Make sure you are doing that in the right way. Apply using the APA format, because most of the schools I apply to and I've coached people on, I know that is what is required. You do that. You see, immediately an admission committee sits and they pick up your docket and they open it. First, your resume is succinct, done in a very academic way. They don't spend so much time. It's gratifying to know this person will be very good. Now they get your statement of purpose. You have written it with clarity of thought. Those reading it, because remember, they're not going to call you and say, well, you made a statement. What does that mean? No. Everything, the decision you're going to make is what you have written. Clarity of thought. What program are you applying to? The department. What is their focus? What is this department's main trajectory in terms of the things you want to do? Go to their website and read. When I was writing my statement of purpose, I was on the school's website. Communication and Development Studies program. There's an overview of it. What is the overview of communication? What kind of student do they want? Oh, okay, these are the kind of students. I incorporated a thing in my statement of purpose to write around that. That I am a student who is excited in social change. My research is channeled towards social change, the social change agenda. I am re-echoing what this school is looking out for. It is India. So I'm writing to, you're just like proposing to a lady, and beforehand, what the lady likes. Someone has come to tell you that, oh, this girl, these and these and these are the things that they like, she likes or whatever. And you already know before you go. You see, when you are throwing your punches, you try to throw the punches around that area. So this girl is going to say, oh, Charlie, this guy is very conscious and solid. He knows all that. But it's not like that because you've done your background search. Okay, so you can't apply to a school and a particular department and you don't even know the core focus of the department. And so you are writing something which deviates from what the admission committee will pick this and say, no, I don't think you are for this school, and just dump it somewhere. So first of all, read about the school, read about the department, read about the program, find the professors who are in these schools, what are their researches. Now, let me give you another trick. Sometimes, for me, for the PhD, for instance, when I was doing it, I went to my department, I checked all the professors, their research interest. I am into health communication. I was doing something on mental health. So I was specifically looking for professors who are doing these kind of things in my area, right? And then I incorporated it into my essay because I noticed that within the department, in the area of health, these are the ongoing research based on the professors. Sometimes people talk about cold emails and all that. Well, I wrote a cold email to a professor. It wasn't necessarily a cold email. I didn't even get any response. And I knew I was going to get a response because, I just did it for like a mere formality's sake if he asks why. But my whole thing was not on that cold email thing because these professors are receiving hundreds of emails and they don't even open all of them. And some of the people too, the cold emails are very pathetic. It's rather even decreases their chances. So, but my focus was more on the statement of purpose that I wrote. So after I found that in my department, these are the areas that people are working on in terms of health communication. When I was writing my statement of purpose and my research, I was writing to appeal to the emotions of these people. So I know that once they are reading my statement of purpose, they know that I'm speaking the language of the department. I'm speaking the language of the professors. I wouldn't even find difficulty getting somebody to supervise, advice. So the man that I wrote the code email to, I had mentioned the reason why I even did that. I remember one reason was that I had mentioned him in my statement of purpose, that his research kind of aligned with what I do, and I'm excited to work with him if I'm admitted. So I think I was sending the email to also just let him know that I mentioned him and this is the case. He didn't respond. Eventually, he's now my advisor. He ended up being my advisor now for the PhD program. So Ghana, they will say supervisor, right? Yeah,
That's interesting.
He's my advisor. And I told him, I said, Dr. Helm, when I was applying, you were the reason why I applied. I sent you a code email, you didn't respond. He said, oh, I understand. I get thousands of these and I rarely do open them. So that was why I was even telling that code. Yeah, he said, I rarely do open them. And I understand because even with me right now, I get tons of message on LinkedIn and even on WhatsApp so much that sometimes they get buried away. You can imagine they can't be reading all those. But for the committee and the application, they'll definitely review my documents. So I said, let me just make the mark here. And remember, when they finish, they all vote on it. That's how they do the selection. So like if you have 5 people sitting on the committee and we review your packet, it's like, okay, what do you make of this now? What do you make of after that? The conclusion, the decision is taken. So for me, that was a trick. And that is what I also encourage people that I coach. Sometimes I'm like, people, there are times I've also coached people who are confused, a little bit confused. What school do you want? I said, okay, if you want to come to this school, just like the process, what is the department main focus? What are the professors work? You know what, dude? Let us write a statement of purpose in this direction. And you often hear some people, okay, me, I don't want health. I said, no, it's not about health. It's about appealing to the department. Once you get in here and you think, oh, I want to divert my research trajectory to something else, that you can do it. You can do it, right? Once you are here. But first of all, how do you stand out among the 200 and 300 people who are all applying to the same thing? Mind you are not the only intelligent people with all the A's. I want to put this on. I came with a 2.9 GPA in UCC, was a second class lower.
Can you mention that again? 2.9. Okay.
That is a second class lower.
And now you have 2 masters plus a PhD.
Yes, and at Ohio University, I graduated as a standing master student. I'm doing much.
Wow, interesting.
But I came with 2.9. It was a lower. And you see, I had people who were saying, oh man, negative things when I was like, hey, I wrote to OU because on their website, they had also written 3.0. 3.0 at least. And I knew I had 2.9.
So it means that it's not even
graduate coordinator and
so it means that it's not even always the case that we stick to the minimum requirement. We can even try.
I tell people, I've advised them. Sometimes I wrote to the school. I wrote to the coordinator and I said, I have a 2.9 GPA, but I'm a very experienced student who will bring a lot of depth to the department. Am I able to apply? And I got the response that yes, apply, because sometimes they are not just looking at your academics. You know, mind you, you are talking about me working as a journalist. I have a lot of voluntary experiences. These are the kind of people they also want. It's not just about everybody can get A. I'm telling you the truth, and be empty. And if you have schooled outside in the US or UK where you are, you will understand that when you come here, the rigorous thing is not just about the A's and B's. You know how the system
Yeah,
works.
honestly,
Yeah,
honestly.
so they are looking out for people who beyond the classroom, they also bring a lot of depth and experience into the program. For the communication and development studies program that I enrolled on, in my class, almost about 90% of us were all professionals. People who have worked with the United Nations, people who have worked with WHO, people who are doing exceedingly well in their country. So it was a depth of, we are talking about experienced people who were coming. It wasn't about ABC. I am
Okay.
not saying we should downplay the academic because it's important. Now, let me tell you, your CGPA will get you to the admission committee, of course, but being admitted, there should be more to it.
All
Okay,
right.
because of course,
That's interesting.
once you've made the cut for the academics, of course, you qualify. It will get you to the admission. You'll be able to make to that point of applying, of course. But to be awarded the scholarship and the funding, you should demonstrate more beyond the books. They should see that you are an all-round person. So I thought I had a 2.9, and I've had people reach to me because I want to apply to the school, but my CGPA is 2 point it's a lower, and so I can't apply. And I'm like, I talk to these people and I realize that beyond the classroom there are people who are also engaged in a lot of things. And I'm like, okay, if you're not going to go through the academic route, you have these things to add to your packet that makes you an all-rounded person. You see, I am not saying go and fail, because I have spoken about this before. Not saying okay, then I'm going to make a third class, or I'm going to make pass or whatever. Fine, there are categories of schools for those that you will. But if you are aiming to get a scholarship and get the kind of right aim to get it. But all that I'm just trying to say is, if the academic grounding is not so strong, but you have other things that you've done, outside of that you can put together, sometimes it's a way of opening doors for you. Because like I said, the admission committee do a holistic review of your application. So it's not just about the A's, which is very important. I'm not saying that, and I want to be very clear on this. I am not saying we should compromise on academic excellence. That's not all that I'm saying. And I'm not saying this to give you a justification, say, oh, let me just relax. And no, it is important. Remember, the school, now listen, let's look at it in this scenario. I always tell people, for example, if there are 5 people who are applying, and now there's just one scholarship opportunity for the 5 of us, we all have professional experience. So on that score, we are all scoring the same thing. We all have in terms of research experience, we've scored on that. So what is going to separate us? Sometimes that is when your classes and stuff will come in, because now after they've gone through all the levels and they say, oh, okay, then it's that's where the separating the boys from the
men
will come in. So I am not trying to say or give you a justification to say don't study, because it is important. I mean, don't get a good class. The class will definitely get you to the mark. What I'm trying to say is, if you are watching me and listening to us now, and you're a good student, sometimes the class is not always a clear reflection of who we are. You get the point. So yeah, if you looked at my 2.9 when I was applying and said Kojo is a dumb student because he couldn't make even a second class upper, and so we wouldn't. I always say the university would have lost a good asset. Yeah, because yeah. So all that I'm just trying to say is, if you have those kind of things, you can work all of them together and make your application packet very rich, so that there are places and things they can also find out from that before they get you the admission. Yeah.
Interesting. I think this episode 2 has been one of the, one interesting thing about this podcast is that anyone who has been on this show has a different story. And it's so amazing that people in the same country, but everyone's story is kind of different. And I think I really love this idea, and it will really help our friends who are back home to really learn from it. Just a quick one. I think you mentioned our resume being in an APA style. Maybe somebody hearing this for the first time within just 30 seconds. Can you just explain it to us too?
So this is all I tell people. Anybody watching, get your phone, Google right now and say APA style. You just have a format of it. I mean, you just see the format. It is there.
Okay.
In terms of the AI and the things that you're talking about, that's what I tell. I'm like, and this is what I did when I was applying. When I hear something, you find them this information out there. Unless you don't, if you Google APA formats of
resume,
you see a template and see a format and see how it is. I don't know how I'm going to talk about it because this is a format, but it's just a format way which most academic institutions look at and expect you to do, because when you're applying for the schools, it's a research institution, and that is more of the academic, unless it is stated that otherwise the school has given specific. So what I'm saying is, unless the school you're applying to has specifically said your resume should be in this style, I recommend that people use the APA format, which clearly gives, I mean, it's not a professional one. It's not a job. Some people don't even know that they have to write it, and there's a difference between a resume for applying for a job and for going to school. People don't know that distinction. So just Google right now. You just see a template.
All right. Thank you so much. Fred, you would like to come in?
Yeah, we have over 1,000 people watching us across our various social media platforms. If you're just tuning in, you're welcome. This is called the Study Abroad podcast with the Fred Effect team. Ben is my co-host. Our guest today is Honorable Kojo, the president of GRASAC USA. If you're watching us on YouTube, it's the Fred Effect Facebook, Instagram, X, and also TikTok. After the session, this live session and the other ones we've had earlier will still be on the various Fred Effect platforms. So if you go on YouTube under the live session, all the previous episodes, including this one, will be there so that you can re-watch them. We value, it's a lot. It's not easy having to get data from where we are from. We know how things are, and be able to watch a live session like this. So we appreciate you, and we want you to leave this session with value. And so it's very important that you share so that other people can benefit from the ideas and information we are sharing. We go to the comment section, we respond to a couple of questions, and we move on. Dada Joe, you're watching us on Facebook. He's saying great. Thank you for tuning in on Facebook, Dada Joe. Dora, is it Miss Dora? Okay. Is saying thank you for tuning in. Kwaku, this spelling of Kwaku dear. I am from Ghana and it's 6:52 p.m. I want to ask if the TFV team will recommend ChatGPT. Kojude spoke about the use of AI ethically. That is great. Philip, thank you for tuning in on YouTube. Mercy is watching us on Facebook, on YouTube as well. And then Promise is watching us on Facebook. Shout out to you. Watching us from Nigeria. Somebody is asking you of the study gap. When you graduated from your master's degree, how long did it take you before finally working on the Ohio University application?
Oh, for that was very seamless. It was just right after I completed, I just went to the PhD. Is that what I mean? Is it from OU to University of Kentucky, or from
UCC to OU?
Oh, from UCC to the gap was, so I completed, like I said, everything with my national service in 2016, and I went to Ohio University in 2021.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So, but in between that, like I said, I did another master's in Ghana. Mind you, I started my first master's from 2017 to 2020.
Okay.
I was supposed to graduate in 2019. Ideally, that's what it was, but COVID and all that. Well, so I finally graduated. And then 2021, I came to Ohio University.
So when applying to your second master's degree program at OU, did you add your master's degree, or you use only the bachelor's degree?
Oh, I did add my master's degree. I say it was part of enriching. Like I said, we are building a portfolio, and we are applying other equally qualified people. the knowledge that I was bringing from my previous masters also added depth to it. So I included it in the application process, and I've included it in everywhere I've gone to. When I was applying for the PhD, my first masters, second masters, everything was included.
Awesome. So and of course, because I also, graduated from OU and University of Kentucky. Clearly, these universities do not require one to go through the transcript evaluation process. And did you also mention, did you write GRE, TOEFL, IELTS, or any other exams?
I never wrote any of them, and I was never going to write any of them.
Yeah. So the other time I was making a comment that people should tailor their study abroad process to suit their preference, like cutting your code according to your code. I can't afford to pay for transcript evaluation. Remember that even if you pay for it, there are some universities like OU, they will not accept it. You have the evaluation, all right, but the school says they don't accept it. So if you can't afford it, that shouldn't be a hindrance. That shouldn't be an excuse. There are universities that require the evaluation, totally fine. You go in and apply to them. There are others that do not require that. And the GRE, GMAT is also optional for some programs and some universities. And Kojoda is a typical example, even for a PhD program. And of course, when I was applying to University of Kentucky, I didn't have to evaluate my transcript, no GRE or GMAT required. Remember that would certainly depend on the program you are applying to, right? So so the department you're applying to.
So let me just chip in this. There are people who say, "Oh, okay, I want to go to Harvard. I'm going to Stanford. I'm going to," and this it is Harvard or no other school. It is Stanford or no other school. Fine, that's very good. I always encourage people to be ambitious, and I'm excited when you want to go to an Ivy League institution. But that is where you should know that, well, in these schools too, these are some of the requirements because they are very high. So if you want to write GRE, if you want to go to Harvard, or if you want to go to, or not even necessarily about the schools, but if there are certain programs you want to do and you know that whether you like it or not, these you will have to evaluate or do it. It is your choice that you have made. I was being strategic. My goal was to study communication, which other schools were not taking GRE. I wasn't bent on saying I want to do this communication at Yale. I wasn't bent on saying I want to do this communication at, and I always say there's no stupid university in the United States. Yes, University of Kentucky is an R1 institution. If you're watching from Ghana, you can Google and check what an R1 institution is. Ohio University is an R1 institution now.
I want you to repeat what you said. There is no stupid university.
Well, that's what I say. Yeah, I mean, that's what I say. If there are stupid ones, I haven't seen them yet. So,
yeah.
But the ones I have seen and I've seen people go to, yeah. So, all that I'm just trying to say is that it's good to have, do not lower your standards. I'm not saying nobody should get me wrong, right? And say, oh, it's not, well, I mean, you should talk to us for us to aim high and go to the Harvard. That's what I'm saying. No, don't lower it at all. Yeah, if you want to go, I'm all for it. It's very great. Excellent. Go for it, push for it. But what I'm trying to say is do not compromise your own standards or quality because of. And don't also think that because I settled on University of Kentucky, I was settling for something lower. That's why I brought the fact that it's not a stupid institution. But yes, and like somebody will say, Accra stay by plan. I was staying by plan and being strategic here too. Okay, I was strategic and trying to go through the system because I was like, if there are schools that will waive GRE for me, that will waive, which are equally good schools, why do I have to worry myself and say, Chinchina, I want to go to this one when I can come here? It didn't work for me. So that's how I didn't. So it was really, really strategic. If you gave me a school that had that, I wasn't going to do. Like I told you, I went application halfway to George Mason and I stopped because they were requesting for that.
Awesome. So I mean, we have a lot of things to talk about. I want you to quickly touch on your scholarship, OU and University of Kentucky. Did it come automatically with your admission? Did you have to have another interview for it, or did you have to apply separately? This is a very important component of a lot of people applying. How do they get the scholarship? So yours was attached to your admission, or you had to apply separately for it?
Okay, so that's what I know most about. I know about most of the US schools. That's usually if you have funding, admission letter comes and your funding decision is also following. So mine came with. So for Ohio University, my first funding was a GRE. You know what a GRE is like? So the partial
The GRS.
Sorry, I said GRS, yes. Scholarship. It's like a partial funding. So when I was getting to OU, it was a partial funding. However, in my admission letter, it was stated, because remember,
let's make this point. It was the partial funding that got him the visa approved. You know, there are a lot of people with the idea that, you know, I have a partial funding and my brother says I shouldn't go for the interview. Kojo there is telling you the partial funding got the visa approved.
Came with the partial funding. I wasn't a full scholarship. My deficit was, I think, $14,000.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was almost $15,000. That was a deficit for my I-20 when I was going for the interview. So yeah, it was a partial scholarship that brought me. But what I was going to add was, for my own admission letter, it has been stated that when I was able to get to the US, there was a possibility of a full funding for me. And I think the words were chosen carefully so that it wouldn't be like, but eventually when I came, I think 2 months into the program, I was informed that I had a full scholarship, which was going to take effect the spring semester. So I would say that my first semester in the US was on partial scholarship for the masters at Ohio University. Yeah. But then for Kentucky, it came together.
Oh, okay.
I applied. I didn't go for any interview. I didn't do anything. I just received a call from the community, the committee, and said, well, we're excited to say that you are part of our top candidates.
Oh, wow.
Want to give you. I said, oh, great, this is good news. And yes, it was a fully funded thing. So
I don't know about your case in Kentucky, because you know, most international students, even though they have a full package. So when I was at Ohio and then I had a full funding, I still had a couple of fees to pay, you know, not that much you could pay from your stipends. But in Kentucky, I was practically not paying anything.
Yeah, it's the same thing. I think after everything, the deficit I paid, the largest amount of money I paid is, I think, $120 or so.
Yeah. Kentucky is like that. Shout out to them, by the way. We like that.
Yeah. I mean, for Kentucky, especially for the communication program, I mean, I came, apart from the full funding that I did get. I mean, every teaching assistant, you have your MacBook. For you, that comes with the package to help you work. So it was a very good package, and I'm excited that I settled on that. Yeah.
I love your experience when it comes to the visa process, because the same school that, you know, you got a visa approved with, you said you were denied initially, or was it a different school?
It's the same. It was the same. Yeah, my first attempt. That was.
Yeah, but before we come to that, because a lot of people are preparing for, you know, the peak of the visa applications and stuff like that. Let's go to the GRASAC Congress. So GRASAC has an annual program that, you know, you organize. How long have you been doing this? I know the one in Maryland.
So yes,
this is the second one.
Yes, this is the second one. So among the many that GRASAC hosts, this was the first time that we had to meet in person. You know, programs have been virtually. So what the Congress seeks to do is to, after the whole year doing these online programs, there's a day in a year, or a time in the year where we have to meet together in person to, of course, network, build collaboration, just as we've done. And so the first one, like I said, was initiated by PC in last year, 2024, and then the second one is now, that was held in Maryland. That's where PC is, and now the second one coming to Ohio University from August 28th to 31st.
Okay, let's talk about registrations. Who qualifies to register? How do we register and all that?
So this Congress is open to everybody who wants to participate. Everybody. Get as much as people. Even if you can get a visa and fly from Ghana and come, we'll be excited. At the moment, we are working with the GRASAC National in Ghana executives. We sent invitation letters to them who are on the process of trying to join us. We have 2 people from Germany who are also trying to get things together to also join us. So what I'm trying to say is that it is, for the Congress, is open to everybody, because among the many things that we want to do, we also want to kind of showcase what these Ghanaian students are doing here in the United States. we are in an era where international students there's been a lot of conversation ongoing, but I think that it is also a good time for us to also showcase to the world, showcase to the United States, showcase Africa that we are people who are also adding value. Come and experience the kind of research that students are doing to tell you that, oh wow, these are all those happening. So this time we even want to incorporate the Maiden Research Expo, where people can send in an abstract, come have a poster presentation, showcase it to the world. This is what we're doing. This is ways of building collaboration too. I may see research that you are doing, Fred is doing, and like, oh, could you? This is too. I'm also doing something around it. Can we partner and move on? Yes, and also the time to network. Find your spouse too can be very important. Entertainment, have fun. High University has a registered morale group. Very interesting. Made up of Ghanaians, registered. The university recognizes it. They are all geared towards Congress. I mean, I'm talking about the fun aspect too. So it's also about fun. We are going to do professional development where we're going to have people to talk to our members in terms of like transitioning from the master's to the PhD, transitioning from the PhD to the job market in the United States, how you do about it, and then getting into the migration pathway. So we're going to have this concurrent workshop going on. We have seasoned experts, professionals who are already in the system who are coming to help us to our members to get through the process. And then we have the awards and dinner where it climaxes everything, just to have fun and recognize people who have also contributed immensely to GRASAC there. Yeah. So basically, it's a 3-day event. Starting from August 28th and ends on August 31st. And this is happening on the Labor Week holiday because the Monday is a holiday. And the reason why we strategically chose this too is also because we had some students who say, oh, school has reopened, we don't want to. I always tell my people, consider this as one of the conferences that you attend, because most of our conferences are attended when school is in session. And we also chose the holiday weekend so that we can have a lot of time. It wouldn't be like, oh, we have class the next day. You can have enough time to come, plan, and still leave if you want to. So yeah, basically that is what it's about.
I think that was very strategic. What is the cost of registration? Any arrangements for airport pickup, accommodation, stuff like that? What are the plans like?
Right, so registration is a cool $50. Now, when you pay this $50, because we are going to feed you for lunch. Lunch will be catered for. Breakfast and the dinner is I mean, that's you have to fend for that. But the $50 is for the lunch. It's for conference materials. So like you're going to make name tags and all that. Mind you, this is a very, 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 very cheap amount. Looking at the cost involved in doing this, thanks to Ohio University, let me just mention, we call OU as home. OU is sponsoring this, and I must say they are sponsoring because they are literally like hosting us and paying. Putting money in most of the things that we're doing, which would have cost us a lot. OU has just welcomed us, and it's another testament and demonstration of OU's consistent show of love to the Ghanaian community. Sometimes, a few times I've said, we should name it Ohio University of Ghana. I mean, not the University of Ghana, but just to show that the way OU has held the Ghanaian community in the United States, I don't know yet. There are thousands of universities in the US. I haven't gone through all of them, but I can dare say OU and their show of love and reception to the Ghanaian community has been very enormous, and it has been demonstrated through this GRASAC preparation. So the $50 is just, let's say, I'll say just for the food that you're going to eat and a few conference materials. Now, if you are flying, the airport is the John Glenn Airport in Columbus. We are making arrangements to transport people from there to Athens because it's about an hour and 20 minutes drive, depending on where the route you choose to come. So now registration is ongoing. I'm encouraging people to register. It's a cool $50. Those who live around, OU is also strategically positioned around those areas. You can even drive. I mean, those adjoining universities, states, you can do a carpool and also drive, which will be, unless you're coming from the farther states, then you may have to fly. But then airports pickup will be arranged. But the airport you must get your ticket to is the John Glenn International Airport in Columbus. Now, We have also collaborated with the school, and they've reached out to some of the hotels and inns around who have given subsidies for. So like they are giving rooms for people under subsidized amounts, which is actually ending at the end of July. So we are going to get an info pack on our website very soon. By next week, it has to be there. We will share the link. People can just get most of this information and the hotels that are available and which one you can get to. And if you have friends too, like I said, because OE is a home to Ghana, if you have friends too here who they can host you for some days, which I'm sure you will. They are also willing to do that.
I mean, it's going to be an exciting event, and of course, the first one at Maryland was amazing, and we've taken a lot of lessons from what happened, and a lot of improvement this time around when is the second time. So if you couldn't make it to the Maryland one, just like myself, we are all going to Ohio University, Athens, Ohio. It's home. It's a beautiful place, and we are going to have a nice time. Seeing each other. It might be this could be the first time you have seen people in person, right? So yeah, my team will be there to cover everything, and we'll put it on our social media platforms too. And Grasa will continue to be great. So Kojo, it's been a great session. We appreciate you for coming on, and your time as well as the president, super busy person. But thank you for making. But one final thing people want to hear from you is your experience in the visa interview. And especially, how were you able to overcome a denial? You didn't change your school, your funding did not change, you didn't change your program. So what changed?
What changed was my do I say funder sponsor? And I knew on set that it was the sponsorship. A lot of people go and they get denied. Like, oh, they didn't say anything. They just denied me. It's never true. I've always said there's something, and you must know it yourself. For me, I just knew on set that when I got the denial that it was because of my sponsor. Because the one who was sponsoring me has written on my the I-20 that it was a friend. And also there were some transactions that were made the day before I went for the interview. Like I was saying, all these things I didn't know.
So they checked your bank statement during the first interview?
Yeah, my first interview, they took my bank statement and checked it. I saw the consular officer just went through down there. When I started the conversation, it was going very well. It was only when the sponsorship conversation came in, then I saw that there were a little glitch and stuff like that. And then the next thing was, I'm sorry, you do not qualify for the visa category you're applying for. You may feel free to apply the next time. They give you a generic post. I was like, what happened? And so when I came and I did a deep introspection, I noticed that, dude, it was just the funds. So I had to reapply again. This was on November 18th, 2020. I wrote to OU and said, can you give me a different bank statement because I wanted to change my, I-20, I wanted to change my sponsor. OU said, you know what? We are going to put in a deferral for you for the fall admission. So I said, okay, that's very good. So when I was going for the fall, now I knew my fund, I had to change my sponsor. I got a different bank statement.
So you were initially coming in for the spring semester?
Yes, I was initially coming for the spring semester, which was a new program, a new adjustment they had made because of COVID. COVID did not allow. I was supposed to come for the fall of 2020, but COVID. So ComDev, even though they don't take spring admission, just for that year, they had made some provision. So they said they would do the fall. And then, so when I was going for the fall, I said, now my bank statement must be intact. Then my own self, I did introspection and I said, I was watching a lot of YouTube videos. I was reading a lot about things, scary things and things that will gratify you. But I was always focused on the positive information. So I said, I had a lot of people say, once they've denied you, there's a red flag. You can't get it again. I said, Kojo, I don't think this is about me. So the second time, I changed my sponsor. That was the first thing. And then I also knew, because I have a master's and going to do another master's, I knew for whatever reason that I'll be asked, why am I going to do another master's? What am I going to say? I also learned that, Kojo, I have to be very specific and brief, not talking long and recitative. Because that's what, I was in other groups and people were there. I said, no. I had watched other people, I listened to some consular officers, because, the interview is very short. And they are also under time. They are also under long people too. So when you go and the more you talk, you mess up and say things you've not even been asked. And we're also talking more and giving the consular officer more room to even ask more questions. You get it? So I said, could have to be very brief. So brevity was one of my key things too. So when I just got there, the first question was, where am I going to? I said, I'm going to the Ohio University. This gentleman just typed, and then he said, I can see you were denied some time ago. What has changed? Because what has changed thing will come in. Then I said, my sponsor has changed. And I'm telling you, Fred, I'm telling you, I had done these rehearsals before. Like, I just did deep search and said, what are some possible questions? And all these things that this counselor asked, I'm telling you, I had asked myself. I had just asked myself. Because I knew it has, of course, apart from the change, if I say I changed my sponsor, if I knew I had a sponsor who could sponsor me, why didn't I use that sponsor before and then I had to? I said, could you, this can ask. So I had a prayer, an answer to that. And this time, my uncle is sponsoring me, so why didn't my uncle sponsor me before? And that the consular officer asked that. I said, well, so my uncle is a politician, and in 2020 it was an election year, and politicians were campaigning, and there were a lot of financial commitments. So I didn't even want to bother him at all. I didn't even mention to him that I had a school because I just thought he's already burdened with. That's why I didn't. But now the election is over. He won the election, and I felt I have to just tell him. He was excited about it and wanted to sponsor. This man,
That's a good one.
yeah,
That's a
this
good one.
just nodded the head. Then he has another question again, which I thought will come. You have another master's. Why are you going to do another master? I was very smart on it. I said, oh, yes, that's very great. My first degree was in African studies. My second was in international studies. I am a professional journalist. I have no certification whatsoever to what I do. This is the only program that will enhance my professional competency so that when I come back to Ghana, I'm going to assume a higher role because of
If
this.
it wasn't that you've gotten the visa, I would have given you another one. I love this answer.
And this is exactly how I said it. I said, that's how
Yeah.
it will enhance my professional.
Yeah, I think Prof has been very smart here.
Yeah. And you see, all these things were said not you. It was a normal conversation. I didn't rehearse anything. I wasn't fumbling, but I just said it like that, as I said. And the man was just looking at my. So just when I said that about the profession to enhance my professional competence, now I can assume a managerial role. He just nodded his head and said, he has put the denial and the approval letters at the same place. So he was reaching out for it. In my mind, I was like, dude, don't mess up. And then when he just touched it, just when he was reaching for it, he said, well, I am approving your everything he said later. I didn't even hear. But I didn't hear. But these were the key things, the game changer. I was able to answer why what has changed. I was able to tell him why I need another master's. And for me, yeah, I think that was what did the magic. Yeah.
Right. I love the answers you give, and that's why it's important to have such a podcast to talk to our brothers and sisters who are going through. If you've been denied before, that's not the end of life. Speak to positive-minded people. Take advice from, especially like this podcast we are having. I wasn't even expecting the answers that you just gave. Brilliant answers. I'm even saying that if I was the visa officer, I'll give you 2 visas because this answer is brilliant. You understand? So when you listen to such a podcast, you learn from them. Kojo, there's been a great we could go on and on, but like we've done like an hour and 30 minutes. We really appreciate your time. Are there some people you want to say thank you to?
Oh yes.
And then maybe final words on the GRASA Congress or anything you want to say generally.
I know my entire life has been molded by a lot of people, and so when I mention names, sometimes I'm very careful because you end up not mentioning others because I can't keep track. But there are some key people that I just want to acknowledge for the purpose of my transitioning to the study abroad. So if you're not hearing our name, it's not because you are not important in my life, but I'm just focusing just on this. These people were very, very key. So the first people I want to acknowledge, my program director, Dr. Alex Wilson. He kept saying, Kojo, go do ComDev. I didn't know what ComDev was, and started drumming OU into my head. Professor Michael Boachi Yadom, who is the founding director for IEP, was excellent. He was part of those who wrote my reference letters for me. Dr. Alex Wilson also did. That was excellent. Now, Professor George K.T. Odru, an incredible man by all standards. When I spoke to Prof about sponsorship, getting funding and all that, Prof said, Kojo, I may not get that kind of money to just give, but we know ways to get you to people who can give you the support, the financial support. And he was very, very instrumental and led to that, because like I said, when I had to now change my sponsorship, it was through him that I had a great sponsor who was willing to support me. And this great sponsor is our own member of parliament for Cape Coast North, Dr. Kwamina Mintanyako. God bless him so much. This man was so enthusiastic about it and said, "Could you, yes, I'm willing to just support you." Drove all the way from Accra to Cape Coast. Wanted to join me for all documentations and everything. So
Wow.
yes, he came, he met me, and this was the time that he was an MP. It's not like he was now vying for the position to say, "Oh, I wanted to do that to get the position." No, he was an MP. He drove all the way from Accra to just come. My news editor at the time, Akusia Chiambia Saki, who was also very, very supportive. Before I was coming, the cash donation she gave, could you take this and as you are transitioning to a different place, I am so grateful to him. Like I said, the names may be a lot. I can't mention. I'm just, these specific ones are those who were so much directly involved in the process, and
All
that's
right.
not that they are the only ones who have been supporting throughout this process. There are a lot of people who have done that, and I'm super grateful to all of them and everyone who has been supportive of this project. And when I came to the US, to everyone who has made life very, very comfortable for me. Shout out to the Center for International Studies, Dr. Somia Pant. I love you so much, and she knows. And now to my new home at the University of Kentucky College of Communication. I love you for the new exposure and experience you two are giving to me and the Ghanaian community and all GRASAC members here in the US. I love you all.
Shout outs to the executives of GRASAC USA too. And if you've not gotten your ticket,
yes, and the founding president of GRASAC USA, whose initiative now I'm also being part of, Dr. Juliet Ohemeng in Tiamwa, an outstanding a leader. She had the vision to establish this. Dr. Jojo, who was the founding vice president and the founding executive of GRASAC. Like I told you, the founding treasurer, the one who was part of that, is in Germany. He wants to come to this Congress. All of them have also been very, very, very instrumental for thinking about this association, from which we have also benefited. Shout out. Like I said, the names are a lot. I usually don't like mentioning names in appreciation, because I have a lot of people who have contributed to my life, and sometimes you miss out on some of them and it becomes problematic. But I hope if you didn't hear, I didn't mention your name, you will understand, because the list is so much.
yeah,
And to
it's great. It's great there.
Bagbesi, who also started Congress,
Yeah.
that's very great, because it is his idea that also started this, and he's been very supportive, being a backdoor driver, supporting me in all these things, because I always follow him for advice, and he's been very instrumental. Thanks to all of them.
All right, shout outs to everyone. Shout outs to people who are yet to become members of GRASAC. Please contact the executives, be part of a family that could support you, not only when you are in need, and also create an opportunity for you to support other people. We live on earth not for ourselves alone, but for ourselves and other people. You understand? So, the ideas you've gained studying abroad, you could impact somebody's life through the GRASAC initiatives. We'll meet at the GRASAC Congress. Can you repeat the date again? August?
Yes, August 28th to 35th.
Yeah.
August
Good. Yeah, the Fed Effect team will represent live. We'll be there.
Yeah.
So OU is home, and I feel very emotional when I drive through OU anytime.
The nostalgic feeling.
Yeah, anytime.
At the moment, I'm actually at OU at the moment. I mean,
awesome. And the place is so beautiful, especially at this time.
I love it.
Yeah. Anyway, Ben, any final words? Then we draw it to a close today.
Yeah, I just want to thank Prof for such a huge information. I don't think how much we can buy when we are to go to the market for this information. Just to touch on some few things that he mentioned that I think is better to re-echo so that our viewers would have it in their mind. So just as he said, before he started, he tried to consult some of his lecturers to talk with them, some of the programs that he can read outside, and the lecturers guided him through the process. So please, if you're in school right now, these are some of the services that you can take advantage of. Speak to your lecturers for guidelines on these things, and they are there to help you. And then one thing too is that we need to understand that a CV for school application is different from job application. So he mentioned to us that you have the APA style. So please, as man, advise that go online, check how APA style of CV, so far as application is concerned, looks like, so that you can restructure your CV to meet that standard. And then he said one thing that is so very, very critical, and it's very, very important. He says that let your application be like you proposing to a lady. You know, it shouldn't be too long, but however, it should be such that as soon as you are done proposing to the lady, she should say yes. So let's try and then draft our application around that line, and I think it's going to help. And then the final thing is that there is no stupid university in the United States. So please, just go online, any university that you find, apply, and I'm sure you're not going to regret for attending university at the state.
All right. That is Ben, who has been my co-host. Thank you so much, Kojo, for coming. We really appreciate you. So, Kojo, what we do every week is that, apart from giving out information, we are trying to see how best we could support other people who also want to work on the study abroad process through what we call the Fred Effect Mentorship Program. So every week, we have people watching, putting their comments and all that, and we'll have a draw. So at the end of the day, we can select one person. So let's see who gets selected today. So these are based on the comments and then the subscription, the like. Okay, Obin Dennis, congrats to you, Obin Dennis, for a shout out to Philip. Philip has been typing all the way, but Obin Dennis was selected. So Obin Dennis, this is what you're going to do. Get in touch with the Fred Effect team via Instagram. Our Instagram handle is verified. It's over 21,000 followers. And then you send us a message, and then the team will take it from there. So if you have a high school qualification, our team will take your document, work on the application for you. If you want to apply for a graduate program, we will take you through what we call the Fred Effect Mentorship Program to guide you to work on the process. So yeah, Kojo, thank you so much for joining us today. Your microphone is muted. You're talking, but your microphone is.
Oh, I said, okay. Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me. And
awesome. I think we should do this once again. I'm inspired by your story. 2.9, getting the visa denied for the first time and not giving up and trying again. This is the story of a lot of people who have had a partial scholarship, but they are demotivated that they are not going to go for the visa interview because they do not have everything taken care of. And you got in and you had the full scholarship. That's been the story of a lot of people, that they may not get the full scholarship from home, but when they get in, there are a lot of opportunities on campus for them. And your CGPA do not define you. Your intelligence is not defined by what is on paper, and interestingly, your CGPA, there is a school to use it to apply to as well. So I love your story. I'm sure this is going to inspire a lot of our brothers back home who look up to what you've been able to achieve so far. Remember, Kojo has a Facebook page. So go to Facebook, type Prof. Kojo Day. And apart from that, how do people get in touch with you? LinkedIn, any number you want to put on?
In as Victor Kojo Day.
Okay.
Facebook, Prof. Kojo Day. Those are the places that I usually connect with people on.
Yeah.
So you can.
And I love the humor in what you post.
Oh yes. Life is so tough, so we need something to survive and move through.
Yeah.
So
anyway, thank you so much.
Yeah, LinkedIn or Facebook. LinkedIn is Victor Kojo Day. Facebook, Prof. Kojo Day. Yeah, and
yeah.
Yeah.
All right. A shout out to the Kentucky family, Annie, Ajoa, everybody. Yeah. All right. Ben, final words, and we wrap up. Your microphone is muted, bro.
All right. I think we've had a wonderful session today.
Yeah.
So just want to thank our people for tuning in and listening to us. Our advice is that they should keep sharing this kind of information to others so that they also benefit. And next week is going to be fantastic, so they should watch out.
Yeah, definitely. We have another person coming through next week. And remember that our sessions are normally scheduled way ahead of time. So as it stands now, we have until August already scheduled. So our plan, is really in line. And every week, we have a different guest who is going to really inspire your study abroad process. Be positive, everything will be fine. Ben, thank you for joining as well.
All right.
All right, so we do have a collaboration with Argo Visa. Argo Visa is a team of former visa officers. Remember, with everything going on, you don't want to go and mess up at the interview. You do not have that luxury to go there 2-3 times, get it once and for all. How do you do that? You schedule a one-on-one session with a former visa officer who is going to go through your DS-160, your DS-260, have a one-on-one mock session with you before you go for the actual visa interview. So use the link I'm sharing on the screen to schedule a one-on-one session with a former visa officer, and they're going to help you go through, prepare for your visa interview adequately so that you master what you have to go and say. The Fred Effect team also, for more than half a decade, this is the longest, team that has been doing this for more than half a decade. We have a separate WhatsApp group for people preparing for the visa interview. We are not claiming to be experts in the field, but we've had experience going through the process and the opportunity to assist thousands of people in the past. So every year we organize this free mock session. We meet every single day. Just hear me out. Every single day we meet to be able to help you answer some of the questions that you'll be anticipating when you go for the visa interview. So send us a direct message on Instagram. Remember that we are on all the social media platforms. So if you check on our Twitter, we have about 45,000 subscribers. That is the biggest when it comes to studying abroad as an African, and Facebook, we are over 121,000 followers. On YouTube, the biggest 177,000 and above. And then we are also on Instagram, which is over 21,000 and all that. So the only place we respond to messages, or if you want to get in touch with the Fred Effect team, is via Instagram. If you're chatting with anybody on Telegram, WhatsApp, whatever, please be careful. We can only be reached via our verified Instagram handle. So please do that. Don't be talking to anybody using an American number as WhatsApp, claiming to be the Fred Effect. A lot of people are impersonating the Fred Effect team, using our pictures and brand designs to be able to, lure people to pay them some money, stuff like that. Please be careful. You can only reach out to us via our verified Instagram handle, and that's it. So the Fred Effect team is the only team that supports people with high school and diploma who want to pursue a bachelor's degree. So if you have a diploma, if you have a SHS, even with a D7 EH, don't worry. Schedule a meeting with a Fred Effect team. Our team will handle your entire application for you for free. This is the link you're going to use to schedule the one-on-one meeting. If you are dreaming of applying to spring, that is January 2026, fall 2026, the time to start is now. Use the link to schedule a one-on-one meeting so that we take you through what we call the Fred Effect Mentorship Program. This mentorship program has assisted thousands of people over the years, and we continue to stay committed to, impacting people all over the world. And our aim is to, inspire and motivate people to pursue higher education abroad. The name has been the Fred Effect. Remember, this remains the biggest study abroad content platform, and our aim is to inspire, motivate you, and not to look down on you because you didn't have a good CGPA or you're not from a good home. We believe that higher education has the potential of changing people's life, and especially if you have opportunity to have it outside your home country, that is studying abroad, it makes life, a bit better comparatively. So you can also do it. If the Bole Bamboy boy has been able to do it, if Ben has been able to do it, you can also do it. Believe in yourself. You are not where you are, you want to be, because you do not have the information to get you there. Now, when you get the information to get you there, it makes it easy. People have already done it. You wouldn't be the first person to do it. So it's highly possible. The name has been Fred. Please be positive and know that everything will be fine. Take care of yourself. We'll meet you next week.